Even if it's a feminine thing?
Kinda, in colloquial speech, yeah.
Okay. Just to mess with us a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay.
Let's look at some of the colors. Let's look at the colors, okay? Just to take a look at how the vowels shift in these words, okay? Adom, red. Yeah. Okay. Adom. When you add the hey at the end, it changes to aduma. So it looks the same.
Do the colors come before now?
No, after. All adjectives come after. So, yeah, aduma is the feminine. And then same thing, for the masculine plural and feminine plural, it's gonna be adumim and adumot. Right? So the O changes to U. Okay, let's take a look at what's the next one we have here. Afor. Afor. Afor will be, it means gray. Okay. It says, it will be pretty much say the same. Afor, afora, aforim, aforot. That one's straightforward. What's the next one on this list? Black. Shahor. Shahor. So, Shahor. And again, similar to the same kind of thing. Look, remember it was a gadol, turned into gedolah. Shchora. This ah disappears. Shchora. And then shchorim. And shchorot. Right? Same thing. It follows the exact same pattern like gadol. Gadol, gedolah, gedolim, gedolot. Shachor, shchora, shchorim, shchorot. White, lavan. So this is lavan, lavan, lavana, lavanim, lavanot. It'd be pretty much the same thing. I think this might change to an e. I think it's lavana, lavana, instead of lavana, it's lavana for feminine. But other than that, it's pretty similar.
So we gain a syllable there, we gain a syllable there, we don't contract the word?
No, don't contract that one. It's, yeah, some of them don't. I mean, a lot of it has to do also with like the letters around the vowels and how those letters interact with the vowels. I don't know, it's like, I think it all developed over like many, many hundreds and thousands of years of people pronouncing it, and it's like, now it's easier to pronounce it like this.
Mhm.
You know, so it just kind of shifts. And then there are patterns, because the similar sounds have similar patterns. But, okay, taho, so yellow, okay? That's a tzad. However you write that. Right? How do you write that in Ukrainian? I don't know how to write that. So it would be tzahov is a masculine. Tuba, tuba I'll do in transliteration for you. So the verb, so with a bet, right? This letter, this can be, it's it either has the gesh or does not. But when you're writing it without the dots, you don't know if it has the gesh or not. So I can tell you how you know if it has the gesh or not. If it's the first letter in the word, it has the gesh. If it's the last letter in the word, it does not have the gesh.
Yeah. That's easy.
Always.
That's good to know.
Period. And then if it's in the middle of the word, then you don't really know. Sometimes it has, sometimes it doesn't, but it has to do whether it's the end of that syllable or the beginning of the next syllable. That kind of has to do with it. It may also have to do with the gesh also can mean like a double sound, right? So if it was like a double B, then it may turn into a single B with the gesh, right? That will never be a V. But like at the end, no matter what, at the end of a word, it's always a V sound. So tahov, really that's a B, but because it's at the end, it's pronounced V. So as soon as it has something else at the end, you add the hey at the end, that becomes a B again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So suba, and then it follows that same pattern. Subim, subot. And the reason I'm going through this whole exercise with the colors is because I think it's a good thing to look at how these sounds shift when you're adding these endings. Similarly, okay, orange, katom, katom. So, like gadol, ktuma. So this one contracts, ktuma, ktumim, ktumot. Let's do green, yarok. Yarok. Feminine, Yeruka, Yeruka, Yerukim, Yerukot. So, and then blue. Kahol. Kahol. Chula. Chula, chulim, chulot. It's like that same pattern of gadol, where you have the o, the disappears. Here, the o also changes to an u, which doesn't always happen, it sometimes happens. Okay, any other? Now, you also got, single syllable words that are actually, which are easy. Like hot. Cham. That's an easy one, because it's just cham, chama, chamim, chamot. Right? There's just nothing else can happen there. There's only one syllable. Right? So those are always easy, or cold. Right? Cold is ka. Ka. Right? Same thing. Ka, kara, karim, karot. That one's easy, like the word easy, ka. Kad, same thing. Easy. Kad, kala, kalim, kalot. any questions about it? Kate, any questions?
Bride?
No, that's a different word. Kala is spelled like this. That I'll do for you in, without the script, the regular way. So to compare. Easy. The bride was easy. Kala means light, easy, or lightweight. But this is kala would be a lightweight bride. She was very light, easy to pick her up, bring her back home. What else? Any other questions? So let's look at another example. I want to take a look at some other adjectives. I'm just noticing on the sheet. Let's take a look at this one, yafeh. Okay, this means beautiful. Now, how does it, you got masculine and you've got feminine. Oops. Let me make that really good. Right, so what's the difference between them? They're spelled exactly the same. This one, masculine one, is pronounced yafeh, and the feminine one is pronounced yafa. So here we see that if the word ends on a hey, then you don't, I mean, that is the word, right? So the masculine version of that would be the eh sound, but then you're not gonna add another hey after it to make it feminine. You just change the existing hey to the ah sound. It's like 2 in 1, you know. And then now what happens? How do you add the endings like im and ot, right? Yafim, yafot. Yafim, yafot. What happened to the hey? It disappeared. Just like it always disappears when you add the ot ending. Well, in this case, it disappears also for the im ending. It's always going to disappear when you add the ending. The hey will always disappear. So, do I have another one similar to that? Yeah, here I have one. Tall, gavoa. This is going to be. Now this one I can't explain. I'm sorry. Because the one I told you right now about yafeh, that one is the standard. Okay, that's like every other time except for this one word, it always works like that. The eh ending for the masculine, the ah ending for feminine, right? Here's another one, it ends on hey. Okay. This is an exception. This word is kind of an exception. This means tall. This means high or tall. Okay. This word is gavoha. Gavoha. What's the difference? This word is different than a typical word that ends on hey because you actually pronounce the hey and you have another ah sound after it. So, did you come for a Hebrew class? Or?
No.
Oh,
I didn't know there was Hebrew class.
Well, I guess you didn't sign up for it, so.
Well, I didn't even know it was happening.
You wanna sign up? Sign up now.
You could,
It's 7 to 8, it's 7 to 8 usually, so if you come for this
Oh,
class,
it's,
it's perfect
we're
usually.
over
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Sorry, we started late, I have 5 minutes, and I realized, I'm gonna go through this word, and then we're gonna jump into verb really quickly. Sorry, you were distracting me.
Goodbye.
Gavoha means tall. So in this case, you actually, for feminine, you do add another hey after it. And it becomes gavoha. And it contracts. because it has the vowel, because the hey, I guess the hey in gavoha, it functions differently. It functions as a consonant and not like that ending, right? It's not functioning, like going back to what I started the lesson with that. At the end of a word, the hey functions kind of like a vowel. It's like a consonant that functions as a vowel. In this word, it functions as a consonant because it has a vowel after it, right? And you pronounce it, if you're pronouncing it correctly, you should pronounce the ha, gavoha. So then you add the other hey, and it's still ha, right? Because it just does this. Because the second hey is like the vowel, kind of, right? So it's like, well, where's this ah? It's just there. It's invisible. It's not written at all. So, and then the plural would be vohim. Vohim and vohim. Vohim.
And
Right.
that ha disappears?
Huh?
That ha disappears?
The what?
The H.
No, it doesn't. That stays, yeah, because it's part of the word. It's an actual consonant in that word. So, alright, let's jump into the verb sheet. We're gonna look at only the present tense state because you already know the present tense. It's conjugated exactly like the adjectives. Exactly like the adjectives. In fact, the present tense of Hebrew verbs, you could say, are just adjectives in a way. So what I gave you here are 3 letters, right? And these 3 letters are the meaning of the word. That is called the root, okay? The root is always going to be, so they say there are 2-letter roots, 3-letter roots, or 4-letter roots, okay? Really, I don't know if that's true or not, but typically it's 3 letters, okay? The 2-letter roots are the ones on the left side that all have the vav as this middle letter, okay? Because the vav disappears when it's a middle letter. So it becomes, you're left with 2 letters. So the root is going to be 3 letters, okay? So, yeah. I'm going to do it differently here. Let's take these, I'm going to take any 3 letters. I'm going to do a placeholder for them. Okay. This is pretty much how Hebrew works. You've got like a template, right? And then you've got these blank spaces for the root. And the roots is the same order of the 3 letters. And that's the meaning of the word. So let's say I want to have, so my template is going to be, let's say I want to do the masculine singular, right? Masculine singular is going to be, I'm going to have the vav right here. Okay, that's the vav, and it's going to make an O sound. Okay, so the transliteration is going to be like this. First letter of the root, O. Second letter of the root. And this sound here, which is not written, is an E, like an eh sound. And then the third letter, right? So then all you do is you plug the letters into this template, okay? So look at any verb, any word, okay? To love, okay? Aleph, hey, bet, right? Aleph, hey, bet, okay. So how would you say that if I plug it in? And this is ed, right? So it would be, so Aleph is silent, right? So you're left with O. Ohed, right? That's the O right there, right? I'll make it smaller so that it looks like it's part of the word, right? Right. Now if I do say I want to say the root is gonna be, the one on the right side. Ein, Zain, Resh, right? Azar, right? So then it's gonna be Ein, here is gonna be Zain, here will be Resh. It's gonna say Ozer. So, Ohev, Ozer, okay? Can you do another one? What will be the next one? Anyone try? Aleph, Chaf, Lamed, to eat. How would you do that one? Yeah, Ochel, in that case, Ochel, right? Let's do,
Shote, right? Drink.
Shoteh is to drink, yeah, that's right. That's right there, drink. To want, try that one also. Rotzeh. So if it ends on the hay, right, if this one is hay, it's exactly like what we just looked at, Yafeh, right? It ends on Yafeh. This is not really work. But like you said, like Shoteh, right? If the last one of the root ends on a hay, it's gonna just be because this sound here is right? So, let's see. Now what happens, I have a bunch of examples here that I wanted to go through, but obviously we're like over time. But I wanna go through, real quick, the 4 templates. So there are only 4 templates for the present tense of the verbs, and you just plug these letters in, and it just works. So this is the template here. We're gonna pick one for me to choose, okay? Bocher, okay?
He said which tense?
Present tense,
Present.
only present tense, choose, okay? This is the verb, the root. Beit, chev, resh, right? So what's gonna be, we got masculine singular, we've got feminine singular, masculine plural, feminine plural. Okay, it's gonna look like this. Okay, this is your template, okay? Masculine singular, bocher. So this root, it has the meaning, right? The root has the meaning, means to choose, right? Masculine singular, bocher. Feminine singular, bocheret. So what do? You add a tav at the end, and that it makes an et sound at the end, so it could become bocheret. In the plural, it becomes bochrim, and this kind of disappears, right? It kind of contracts, and same thing, bochrot. So you've got the same plural endings that you're used to from the adjectives. The difference here is that you're adding a tav for the feminine, not a hey. Because before we looked at like yeled, yelda. So the tav is also a feminine ending, as you see here. That's also a feminine ending. And we'll understand later how the hey and the tav relate to each other. But in many cases, the hey changes to a tav in certain instances when you combine 2 words together, stuff like that. So, but this is basically the template. So, if you look, so you can take any word here, let's say yatsa, okay, and switch it out. If I switch it out, let's say yatsa means to create. Yatsa. Okay? So then instead of bocher, I would say yotzer. Instead of bocheret, I would say yotzeret. Instead of bochrim, I would say yotzrim. And instead of bochrot, I would say yotzrot. So it follows the exact same pattern. So you can practice that. if the ending ends on a hey, like we said, that would be, example would be like shote, right? To drink, or rote, that's a better one, because it's a more common one, right? So to want, right? So that ends on a hey, so it would be rote and rotza. That follows the same pattern as yafe, yafa. And then rotzim and rotzot, right? Exactly same. Just like you would have yafim, yafot. So exact same pattern like you would have yafe, yafa, yafim, yafot, right? So the same thing you do for rotzeh, rotzeh, rotzah, rotzim, rotzot. Same thing you do for shoteh, right? To drink, shoteh. Shoteh, shotah, shotim, shotot. To answer, right? One, ona, onim, onot. To buy. Kone, kona, konim, konot. Okay? And now, if it ends on achet, this is the last part I'm going to talk about in this lesson because we're like over time. But if it ends on a head, the head, whenever the head is the last letter in the word, it has an ah sound before it, which is never written in any way. There's no like aleph or ayin or any other thing to take place of that ah. You just know that, like, so if you have a word like this one, right, to send, shalach, shalach, but in this case, it's going to be masculine singular, sholeach. You add another ah in front of it, not sholech, but sholeach. That's the only difference, because it ends on a head. That's just a pronunciation rule, I think. But then the feminine would be sholachat. Sholachat. Right? Spelled in Hebrew similarly. There's no difference. It would just be you add the sholachat. Oops. Sholachat. Right? And then shulchim and shulchot, it would just be normal. Because this whole vowel would disappear just like it did for the other one. Bocher, bocheret, bochim, bochot. Sholeach, sholachat. So those are the only two different ones, the singular ones. Right? Or like to forget. Shocheach. Shocheach, shochachat. Shochachim, shochachot. That's how they. So there are also certain other things to take note of when it ends on an ayin and when it ends on an aleph. It's also different. I think we should do that at different times because we're like way over time.
Yeah.
We're gonna end here. We're gonna look into it next time. Next time we're gonna go deeper into the verbs. Does anyone have questions? Or are you all gone already?
Like, so to know, we'll go over it next time.
Huh?
So like to know, we'd go over it next time?
To know.
To know?
Yeah,
That's-
to know ends on an ayin.
Okay,
Yeah. To
so
know ends
that'll
on
be a
ayin.
new rule.
Yes. It's similar to the head at the end. Sholeah. This is would be Yodea, to know. Yodea. Not Yoda, but Yodea.
Okay,
Because of the similar reason, I guess, because it's like a guttural sound. But the ayin doesn't have any real consonant sound to it, so it's just aya is how it sounds. Aya. It basically adds like just the ah.
everything sounds pretty consistent, like even though the rules are changed, like I can see where you get the hang of it, just from hearing it.
Yeah.